Howdy, Possum Patty, and the Soggy Bottom Bunch way back there. It's cleanup time. Yes, it is. It's like after the party. I know. After the live. I did gel plate printing. I made a mess all over my hands, all over my table. I had such fun. Yes, I did. Such fun, such fun. Painting everything on the table now. I'm gonna have to do this again. Yes, I'm gonna save this lace, and I'm gonna go put this stuff. I'm gonna put it down on the floor. I know, I worked so hard to clean off that floor, but yeah, I'm gonna put it down there for now. Since I get all this stuff there, then I gotta bring back my box of stuff. This is the angle that I do the live on. It's a little different when you hit the YouTube live button, but it's pretty similar. Yes, it's pretty similar. So I was working in this space here so folks could see. Yeah, it's a little different. It's a little different. Let me see. And I tried it a couple of different ways, and I was hoping that, oh wait, I gotta put this away. Folks would be able to see what I was doing on the table a little bit. And I keep moving the camera stand. Now that's the camera stand that's usually up here on the table. And I think it worked okay. Yes. It was hard for me to see on the, on the phone that I was recording on, but I had my computer set up over there. And on the computer I could see pretty good because it's a bigger picture, of course. And I was kind of like working like right here. So folks could see a little bit about what I was doing. Yeah, it worked out pretty good. It worked out pretty good. I had cut lots of paper. I was using a pad of paper that I got at the flea market. It's old typewriter paper. Yes. I don't know where it went. I don't know where it went. I thought I put it down here. Maybe I put it back in the bucket because it's thin. And, oh, let me take this off again over here. What I was working on my video last night, right? Or maybe you watched it this morning. I did my journaling with this painty paper background. And I was saying, oh, I love that. I love that. Yes. And that gave me an idea for today's play. I wanted to make some papers that were light in color, or maybe had a very subtle design on them. Maybe some white spaces. And so I cut a bunch of that typewriter paper, which is thin, because I want to use it as a, painty paper in the background. I didn't want cardstock or something. And try to pick out some light, springy kind of colors. Stinky Winky Woos. Stinky Winky Woos was in and out, in and out, in and out of the live. I mean, like constantly. And now she's banging on the door again. This one was mostly white, so I did put some watercolor on that one. But this typewriter paper is thin. It's almost like a tracing paper. This was a different stencil, but I really like those flowers too. And I tried to do those on some watercolor paper. I'm going to use these for postcards. And I'm going to add maybe some watercolor on these. And maybe some doodling and do some art postcards. So I'm going to do something with these for sure. Use them in my journals. I'm going to try and make something out of that. And somebody wanted a postcard, Linda B. And so I got to finish up these postcards and send her one. So I got to do that. Pixie's way over there sitting in the bucket. Everybody had to get out of the way so I could work. Here's my box of stuff. I have to bring my box of stuff back. I can't work without it. No. So I got to put the paint away. Oh, and here's the paper and the postcards. See, I got more. I could do some more play, maybe this weekend or Messy Monday. But today is Friday. Let's do Fairy Friday. Yes, let's do a Fairy Friday. And the Soggy Bottom. Well, this has got to go too. Oh, I keep finding more stuff. That's got to go. I can go in there. The Soggy Bottom Fairy Campground is now open for the season. Yes. So any fairies out there that want to stop by to the Soggy Bottom Fairy Campground, it's now open for the season. There'll be more of the Fairy Village coming along soon. The campground was the first thing to open up, yes. More of the Fairy Village or Fairy Garden Friday to come. Yes, Fairy Garden Friday. Okay, I'm going to clear a few more things out of the way. Yes, I am. And then I'll probably go to overhead camera. This is kind of nice though, isn't it? I'll go to overhead camera and, I'm going to get the fairy journal out. I'm going to get this. Oh, maybe I can use one of these papers in the fairy journal. Yeah, something like that. Okay, we'll see. And I'll get the fairy journal out. And also, I was inspired by that Cat Country book, which is a very vintagey book, to try and find a very vintagey fairy story that I have. Yes. It was written like in the 1930s, and I don't quite remember where I got it. I might have got it off the shelf at my grandmother's house. I think. But it's been in my possession probably for, 50, 60 years or something, a very long time. And I haven't read it in a very long time. And where'd I put it? Oh, it's back there. It's on the table back there. So I was thinking maybe for Fairy Fridays that I would, read a chapter every week. Yes, read a chapter every week. So I'll show you that at the end. So I'm going to get my fairy journal. I'm going to bring you in closer and just do a little fun fairy journaling today. Yes. After I clear the rest of the stuff off the table. So what are you doing today? Are you doing some journaling? Are you doing Fairy Friday? A few folks wanted to do gel plate printing when I took mine out. Yes, I know. As soon as I see somebody doing it, I want to do it too. Yes. Oh, it's so much fun with a gel plate. And then we clean up and we put it away and we don't bring it out again for a while. But every time we bring it out, it is a lot of fun. Yes. So maybe you're doing that. Maybe you're journaling. Maybe you're just relaxing. But I'm inviting you to come on along. This is my bifold journal. That was made by Trudy Craig. Very magical indeed. Yes, very magical indeed. Check out her channel. I will list it below. And I'm putting all things in here magical. Fairies and mermaids and dragons and even fairy turtles from the Doki Doki Forest. Oh, and I have this hot chocolate unicorn that's got to go on a page too. I'll make a tag out of that. I have fairy fabric. Lots of fairy fabric here to go in here. I thought I had some unicorn fabric. Oh, here it is. Some unicorn fabric to make a page too. Scraps of paper. Scraps of paper. And this has to go on a page. Oh, look at the fox and the hedgehog and the unicorn and the owl. Oh, I could do a whole spread. There's 2 white pages right here. Oh, and look at the color registration. I love color registrations. And this one is in the shape of hearts. I could just glue this on here. I don't know if I could fit the hearts. Let's see. Well, I could take the hearts off and then use them as a border at the top or the bottom. I could get the unicorn down there in too. What do you think? Should I just put this in the journal? Why not, right? I think it's super fun. I am going to cut the color registration off, or maybe I'll rip it. Let's see. Okay, so I'm going to save this. Glue stick coming up. Glue paper. I'm going to try and get this even. I'm going to iron it with my finger. Get that wrinkle out right there. I put my thumbnail to the gully there. Make it easy to turn the page. Oh, there was a quote. I think it was from Lori. And it was, I believe it was C.S. Lewis. C.S. Lewis. Someday you'll be old enough to read fairy tales again. And I was like, oh, that's me. I'm there. Yes, I am. I am certainly old enough to read fairy tales again. And I love it. I love it. I've got fairies and I want to read fairy tales and I want to do fairy journaling and I want to have fairy gardens. Ironing this using my finger tools here. This is just so bright and colorful and I love the purple fox and the purple hedgehog. And someday I may add something to this, but not today. No. I love it just the way it is. Yes. And I need a pocket for this page. And I don't like the purple. And not the yellow. No. What else do I have here? Here we go. Here we go. Why not, right? Why not? Look at that. Oh, I just think that's so cute. And I'm going to use my Fabri-Tac and make it a little pocket. What I want to do, but I got sidetracked with this awesomeness. Yes, for this awesomeness is to find something for that card and something for my picture. I got fairy stickers and fairy buttons. I got yellow. Oh, this is a gorgeous little fairy card. Friendship. I could break this up and make a pocket. This is a little big, but I can cut it down a little bit. Friendship can spring up anywhere when fun and sunshine fill the air. Or I could just put it below where it says believe in magic and just leave that up there. Why not? Why not? Okay, I am going to cut this apart. This vintage card. I don't know when it's from. No date. But it looks like it was 35 cents, so you know how old it is. Okay, I'm going to cut that off. I could save that. I love it across from these butterflies. Now, should I just glue it down or should I make it a pocket? I know, pocket, pocket, pocket. Pocket, pocket, pocket. I think I'm going to glue it like a pocket. I'm sorry. Just so many pockets. And now I can take this and cut it down I could put a ribbon or something across there. I could journal about my campground right here, couldn't I? I could put a little ribbon there, and the picture will fit on the back of here. And I could just do a little bit of journaling. Ooh. Okay, let me find ribbon. Okay, I found this. And I found this. So I like that. It's going to be like right there. I like this too, but I think these little extra leaves over here are going to be in the way. I can use this on another page for sure. So I'm going to leave this out. I think first I'm going to round the corners. I think I journaled with cards last night, didn't I? Yes, I did. 2 cards last night, a couple of cards tonight. Well, using them up. Use up the stash. Use up the stash. And I'm just going to put a little fabric tack on there. Right along the edge. Should I use one of my papers as a background? Oh, I should have done it before I put the lace on. Pixie wants a piece. Here you go. I think I will round the corners and then just glue it down. I love this paper. This is the one I added watercolor to. Oh, I should try this again. This might be a new method for me, yes. It's the gel plate print and then add some watercolors to the paper. It's so delicate. It's so delicate. Put the picture down. And then do my journaling. I'm going to put the date over here. Gotta find my pen though. March 15, 2025, the Soggy Bottom Ferry Campground is open for business. Isn't that pretty? I love how that came out. You can see the little flower in the background. You can see a little flower design down here. And that's going to go right there. There. And when I close the journal, look at this. How fun is this? I've got my crochet. I got the trim. Got the little Janet Nash fringe going on there. Well, that was just a little bit of fun fairy journaling, yes. I've got a few things in here. It's starting to look super fun. Look at all the edges on here. Did a little journaling about my fairy campground opening up, and I got some cards in here. And I still have that bag of fairy things. More play coming up, yes. Another Fairy Friday, perhaps, yes. Oh. You may have noticed the gang is all here. Speaking of fairies, yes. Let me introduce you if you're a new possum peep. This is Angela Rose. This is Maggie Rose back here. This is Ruthie Rose. These are my rose fairies. And they came from their fairy godmother, Julia. I can link her channel below, yes. All the way from the UK. Yes, they did. And they heard I was going to read a fairy tale. So here they are. Like magic, they appeared, right. And I hope you hang around for the fairy tale too. I know it's a fairy tale because it begins once upon a time. It's very precious to me. So I hope you hang around for that story. They are. Well, happy chunk journaling. Thanks for coming along today. And please stay for the story. Bye bye. Red Feather by Marjorie Fisher, with illustrations by Divine. Modern Age Books, New York. Copyright 1937. To Alice. Chapter 1. Enough to Go Round. Once upon a time, there was a poor woodcutter and his wife who lived at the end of a village and on the edge of a forest. If they stepped outside their door and looked in one direction, they saw the brown shingled roofs and red tiled roofs of the village. And if they looked in the other direction, they saw the thin green and brown trees that were the beginning of the forest. In winter, all was white in both directions, but smoke went straight up into the air from the village chimneys, and snow shook silently down to the ground from the forest branches. Sometimes Anna, the woodcutter's wife, complained that they were neither one thing or the other, living as they did. But the woodcutter always answered her, "After all, Anna, we have the advantages of the town and the country at one and the same time, and that is nothing to grieve about." Now they were very happy, for they were about to celebrate the birth of a baby daughter. So new was she that she had not even a name yet, and the woodcutter had gone to ask the villagers to a christening feast. Anna, the woodcutter's wife, was baking cakes in the kitchen and singing. It was winter, and snow was falling heavily outside the warm hut. It seemed to Anna that all the warmth in the world was gathered inside her kitchen. Anna sang, "Sleep, my baby, sleep. The snow falls soft and deep. Outside the wind blows chill and wild, but the hut is warm for the newborn child. Sleep, my baby, sleep. Sleep, my baby, sleep. The years stretch far and steep, but the hut is warm, the air is mild, the cradle soft for the newborn child. Sleep, my baby, sleep." Hans, the woodcutter, strode joyfully along through the snow in the village street. First, as was fitting, he knocked on the old priest's door. The old priest leaned out of a window upstairs, and his shaved head shone in the blue light cast up from the snow. "It is to christen my daughter," called Hans, and his words blew out in the cold air before him, to be seen as well as heard. The old priest nodded his bald head, but he had christened so many babies that he took his time getting down the stairs. "A wonderful child, father," said Hans. "One would think that she understood what was being said." The father held up his gown above his stout legs and stepped out with Hans. Well," he said, "it is a thing I have seen so often. Every baby is different, but when they grow into men, how alike they are." "But she has yellow hair and ringlets," said Hans, "and a tiny mole at the right corner of her mouth." Hans banged at the door of every house in the village. "To the christening," he called, "to the christening of my daughter." The villagers came out of their houses wrapped in bright red and green and yellow cloaks. "It is only Hans, the poor woodcutter," they whispered to one another. "But where one goes, another might as well go." All the villagers came. Even little Fritz, the beggar boy, ran along behind them. The woodcutter's hut, with the snow piled high about its sides and the snow heaped high on its roof, looked as if it had sunk a little into the earth. As they came nearer, they heard the mother singing, "Sleep, my baby, sleep." Then there was silence, and then a scream. Hans ran ahead as fast as his legs could carry him. The kitchen was empty. and in the bedroom door stood the mother, trembling. With one stride, Hans was past her, and he stood looking down into the cradle. Then he too began to tremble. There were two babies in the cradle, two babies exactly alike, even to the yellow hair and ringlets, even to the tiny mole at the corner of each mouth. The moles, Hans whispered, even the tiny moles. Then he turned to the trembling mother and shouted, "Which is ours?" But she could only shake her head, and the tears rolled down her cheeks. The curious villagers crowded into the kitchen, and the old priest went ahead and stood beside Hans at the cradle. He looked at the two babies, who were crying now, exactly the same shrill cry. The old priest clasped Hans' clenched hand kindly, and then he went over to the mother. He put his arm about her and led her into the bedroom. "Tell us what happened, my daughter," said the father. At first she could not speak, and then, looking into the eyes of the father and nowhere else, she said, "My cakes were almost done, and I was singing. Suddenly I had a strange feeling and went to the bedroom door. The room seemed to be full of green leaves that a wind was blowing. Before I could take a step, they had all blown out the window, and when I looked toward the cradle, there were two babies." And Anna began to cry. "A changeling," whispered the villagers. "The fairies brought a changeling." Not for worlds would they have missed this, and they thought snugly of their own safe children at home, one of each, and they warmed themselves at the thought. But little Fritz, the beggar boy, envied the two babies. "If only there were two of me," he thought. "The wind never bites so chill when there are two huddled together against it." "Ah, the fairies brought a changeling," said the old priest. "Anna must have interrupted them, and they were forced to leave without the real baby." "Which is the real baby?" sobbed Anna. "Which is my child?" The old priest shook his head sadly. The mayor of the village stepped forward. "Christen them, father," he said. "Then we shall know soon enough. The real baby will remain, and the fairy child will vanish before our eyes." "I doubt it," said the priest, "but I will try." He stepped to the cradle where the berries were silent now, and he made the sign of the cross over the head of one of the babies. "I christen thee, Mary," he said. There was not a sound while all waited, but nothing happened. "There is the real baby," said the mayor, and all the villagers murmured, "There is the real baby." But the priest held up his hand for silence. He made the sign of the cross over the head of the other baby. "I christen thee, Rosemary," he said. Then there was another long silence, and both babies slept on. I thought so," said the old priest. "The young and the innocent of any kind have little to fear from aught that is holy." "My baby," sobbed Anna. "I have lost my baby." Hans drew a deep breath that was almost a sigh, but not quite. He raised his head. "A baby lost," he said. "Nay, Anna, a baby found. Let us have the feast, good neighbors. There is enough for all, and to spare." Little Fritz had slipped easily past the villagers, for he was very thin. He stood by the cradle and held out a skinny little hand to the babies. One baby slept on, but the other opened her eyes and stared solemnly at him. Her tiny hand wavered about in the air and then fastened firmly around Fritz's skinny forefinger. "My baby," sobbed Anna. "Which am I to love and cherish? Which is my own?" "Silence, Anna. For shame," said Hans. "Surely there is love enough to go round. To the feast, good neighbors."